Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shayan Silva.
And I'm Dasnia Thala. Let's start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
Presidential inquiry into irregularities at Sri Lankan Airlines begins. Viral fever spreading in the south identified as influenza A. Water board employees strike continues. Disruptions across the country. Attorney General informs court there is a prima facie case against Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayake on charges of contempt of court. Jordan's Prime Minister resigns after days of protests against tax rises and austerity measures.
The examination of evidence by the Presidential Commission that has been appointed to investigate the irregularities that took place in Sri Lankan Airlines and Mihin Airlines as well as Sri Lankan Catering commenced today.
Four-member committee headed by Attorney-at-Law J.C. Valyamuna had been appointed to look into the alleged corruption that took place during the Rajapaksa regime. In its report, the Commission revealed a large number of corruption and recommended that a criminal investigation be launched and the law be strictly enforced. The Commission report was officially handed over to Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe on the 1st of April 2015. With time, this report too only became a report, while we revealed several instances of corruption in Sri Lankan Airlines subsequently. The attention of the President to appoint a Presidential Commission to investigate allegations of corruption within Sri Lankan Airlines, Mihin Lanka and Sri Lankan Catering comes in this backdrop. On the 2nd of February this year, the President signed the Gazette notice that appointed this Commission. Retired Supreme Court Judge Anil Gunaratne has been appointed as the Chairman of the Commission, whilst the rest of the Commission consists of Court of Appeal Judge E.A.G.R. Amarasekara, retired High Court Judge P.S.A. Naranasinghe, retired Auditor General M.D.A. Harold and Ms. W.J.K. Giganage from the Sri Lanka Accounting and Auditing Standards Association. The Commission has been tasked with looking into alleged corruption that took place from the 6th of January 2006 to the 31st of January 2008.
Prior to the recording of evidence, Additional Solicitor General Neil Unambua, making a statement, said the investigations carried out so far have uncovered Sri Lankan Airlines made a loss of 143 billion rupees from 2006 to 2018 and has 167 billion rupees in liabilities. In addition, Mihin Lanka had made a loss of 17 billion rupees with liabilities of over 10 billion rupees. He went on to note investigations have shown Sri Lankan Airlines, Sri Lankan Catering and Mihin Lanka had inflicted the losses due to mismanagement, corruption and undue influence from people in power. One of the key revelations at the Presidential Commission of Inquiry today was regarding the non-voting redeemable cumulative shares of 10 million shares which were issued to Sri Lankan Airlines Limited by Sri Lankan Catering Limited in 2010. Now, the witness was a representative of the Registrar of Companies. Now, when the documents were put to him, he pointed out that the shares, the share capital by Sri Lankan Catering sent to the Registrar of Companies had numerical defects, which means inaccurate disclosures were made to the Registrar of Companies about those non-voting redeemable cumulative shares issued to Sri Lankan Airlines. So when the Registrar of Companies had pointed out these numerical errors, Sri Lankan Catering had once again sent the share capital document, which is known as Form 6, to the Registrar of Companies, but yet again there were errors or defects in those documents that were sent to the Registrar of Companies, and once again authorities at Sri Lanka Catering had sent another document which in fact again had numerical errors. Now, it was also pointed out in the Commission that the third instance this happened, that particular document was sent to the Bribery Commission in 2016 as per a request that was made. So, according to the witness, the reason why the 10 million shares of non-voting redeemable cumulative shares issued to Sri Lankan Airlines by Sri Lankan Catering was not properly registered with the Registrar of Companies could be because of these defects that were identified. From the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, I'm Zulfiq Farzan for News First.
Moving on to other local stories now. Who are the individuals who received gratification from either the Perpetual Group of Companies or Arjuna Aloysius who are accused of involvement in the bond scam? The dialogue concerning this issue is reaching a decisive juncture.
Kabir Hashim Mahatmyata
Can Kabir Hashim come before the media or come before society and say that he did not receive money from perpetual treasuries? Can he say that he will resign from politics if it is proven?
We asked Kabir Hashim whether he can say this. We will reveal the names one by one. I wish to state that I do not need to take money from various companies to engage in politics. With the wealth that my mother and father earned, if need be, I can give some money to perpetual treasuries. I do not need to beg from them to do politics. I completely and categorically deny the allegation he has made. I do not know whether it was through a family member or not. I have not taken any money from this individual for my political career. During the second bond scam, the subject minister was Kabir Hashim. It was during his tenure that a problem arose with regard to the savings of the children of this country at the National Savings Bank, or NSB. It was this subject minister that asked the Bank of Ceylon to submit a low amount of bids. He was only questioned for 7 minutes in the bond scam. When their behavior is questioned in this way and their involvement is questioned in this way through the media, these individuals are bound to respond. This thievery is not to do with the 100,000 that was given to Sarath Fonseca. It goes beyond even the 1 million given to Dayasiri Jayasekara and the payment of the lease on Ravi Karunanayaka's home. They must be punished if they have taken it. There is no doubt about that. But a massive sum of money was stolen through the second bond scam. What happened to NSB and the Bank of Ceylon? What progress has been made in these investigations? The people of this country need to know where this has stopped. No, one was given to a friend. It is only being done by a friend. I have no involvement in this. No, it was a program carried out by a friend. That man has not earned a large sum of money. They say that I spoke on his behalf. I have known the individual known as Arjuna Aloysius from my younger years, but I have not received any money from them for my political campaigns thus far, nor do I hope to do so in the future. I do not know who said it. You should ask who said it too. Those who took money are trying to mention us. The President, Prime Minister and Cabinet should be accountable on this. Cabinet We do not take money from others. I was the one that testified to the Bribery Commission and asked for a special investigation.
I say that the names of the 118 should be divulged because if not, given that there are 225, we do not want fingers to be pointed at us.
The best way to state that one has never taken any money from Aloysius at any time is through a sworn affidavit. Because in the future, if it is proven that they have lied in an affidavit, then under the penal code in our country, they can be punished with 2 years rigorous imprisonment. I thought we should introduce this step. Therefore, I gave a sworn affidavit before a commissioner of votes that I did not receive money from Arjuna Mahendran. That is the affidavit. I will submit this affidavit to the Speaker tomorrow.
We did not say the list of 118 is in the C350 document. We asked for the complete report. There is a 2,300-page appendix on Kasun Palisena. There is an appendix of more than 1,500 pages concerning Arjuna Mahendran. There is a 540-page appendix concerning P. Samarasiri. There is a 1,346-page appendix on Gamini Vijayasinghe. There is a 930-page appendix on Nandalal Veerasinghe. There is a 1,350-page appendix on K.A. Dharmapala. This bond scam is the biggest act of corruption in the history of the country. We asked them to explain how it will be a mistake if the evidence comes out. There are the phone calls made to about 30 individuals in what they are trying to cover up. Only Ravi Karunanayaka's name has come out. The investigations have revealed that money has been taken. There are details of checks. Now that the facts are exposed, we can see there are phone numbers of people who have fled the country. Please summon Secretary to the President Austin Fernando to Parliament. The Legislature and the Speaker have the power to summon this public official to Parliament to be questioned on this. Has the Attorney General said that these 13 appendices should not be made public? When did he say it? If not, our MPs will not be able to go on the roads anymore.
They tendered to 1 billion, it increased to 10 billion. Correct. Why? When right now also, within week, we are tendering, get the money to the government. Yeah. Then if the government need money, they have to give the treasurer the advice, we need more money, then you get the money immediately. But if the government had that kind of immediate money, then treasury should know. They say no, we doesn't have that kind of immediate money. All the things given evidence, this is the fraud, public money. Who took the money, they must be in the jail. That's yes.
Arjuna Mahendran.
Arjuna Mahendran is silent. Ever since Arjuna Mahendran left to Singapore, our Prime Minister still hasn't mentioned anything about it. But before that, he has asked us not to worry. He assured this won't be a case like Udayanga and Jalia's. He said Mahendran has gone for a wedding ceremony and that he will be back. Where is he now? Did the Prime Minister meet Mahendran? Did he meet the wife of Arjuna Mahendran? Why aren't they answering any of these questions?
A new Deputy Speaker of Parliament will be appointed tomorrow. Who is the candidate for the position? This was one of the main topics on national newspapers today.
According to newspaper reports, SLFP parliamentarian Angajan Ramanathan has been nominated for the position of Deputy Speaker. However, reports say the Tamil National Alliance is opposed to this appointment. It has also been noted that the UNP has nominated Bonaragala District MP Ananda Kumarasiri for this position. The SLFP's group of 16 have nominated Sudashini Fernandopulle for the position of Deputy Speaker. Other names that have been proposed include Khada Mastan, Malit Jayatilaka and Lakshman Nyapa Abeyvardhana of the SLFP. The position of Deputy Speaker became vacant when SLFP MP Tilanga Sumathipala voted against the Prime Minister during the no-confidence motion and resigned from the government and the position of Deputy Speaker. Sumathipala's resignation from the position of Deputy Speaker is to be officially announced to Parliament tomorrow. There is no decision yet on the Deputy Speaker. We do not know who we will support. I am of the position that we must clearly support a candidate who is opposed to the UNP. If they put forward an NP who is a political henchman, then we will certainly struggle against it. We will fulfill our responsibility. We have not done this yet. Our parliamentary group will meet at 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Staying in local news, the United National Party launched its media unit at its headquarters, Sirikotha, today.
The new program of the United National Party Media Unit was officially handed over to Minister Harin Fernando.
The biggest topic in the country is Aloysius. But the biggest topic shouldn't be Aloysius. It should be Suvasarya and Suraksha. The fact that Maithripala Sirisena, who was fielded as a common candidate at the presidential election, has earned massive respect among the public is also true. It is also true this respect only grew further because of the 100-day program. It is also true that the 100-day program was not the policy statement of the United National Party. The fact that the document was drafted by everyone who came together to secure his victory is also true. You might remember we marketed his campaign with the slogan, "A Maithri rule, a new country in 100 days." Everything that was stated in the 100-day program could not be accomplished. That is true. But why this couldn't be done was because of the fact that those who rooted for Mahinda Rajapaksa were also in it. There was a government which was afraid of the word truth. Lasantha Wickrematunge exposed Gotabaya Rajapaksa's MIG deal in the newspapers for the first time. Not even a few months later, he was killed in cold blood in a high-security zone. Eknali Goda, Keith Noyer and Upali Thennakoon all made similar exposés. We are all aware of the destruction that fell upon them for speaking out the truth. Though it is taking time, these matters are gradually being exposed in court. Around 2 weeks ago, the entire list of Gotabaya Rajapaksa's court cases were announced before the media. I am happy that all electronic media carried this story, but every single Sinhalese newspaper was afraid to write about Gotabaya Rajapaksa's thievery. I ask Siri Ranasinghe of Lanka Deepa, the editors of Divayana and Maubima, aren't Gotabaya Rajapaksa's thefts considered as thefts? Why? Because Gotabaya Rajapaksa challenged to expose any other house apart from his wife's house. Ranjan Ramanayaka accepted this challenge, and with video and documented evidence, including electricity bills, he exposed a massive mansion Gotabaya Rajapaksa built on the banks of the Maniganga in Kataragama as Defence Secretary. But he isn't denying it isn't his. He is just saying they are slinging mud at him. But even I ask, if it isn't your house, what urge does the Ceylon Electricity Board have to supply power to that house under his name?
Lanka Electricity Board එකට තියෙන අමාරුව මොකද්ද? එතුමාගේ නමින් එතෙන්ද electricity
ජනතුමා පහුගිය දවස්වල සිදු කර ප්‍රකාශ වලින් පැහැදිලි වෙන්නේ එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ මේ ගියාඬු හිටපු හොරු රැක්ක කියන කාරණයක්. දෙවෙනි ප්‍රශ්න තමයි එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂ සමහර අයටත් බැඳුම් කර සිද්ධිය සම්බන්ධයෙන් චෝදනා එල්ල වෙලා තියෙන මුදල් ගත්ත කියන එක. එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ
The United National Party did not protect any rogue. It is also unfair to label people as being thieves.
අපිට එහෙම සාධාරණ නැහැ එක එක්කෙනාට චර්ච සහතික දෙන එක.
Health authorities say the viral fever that is rapidly spreading across the southern province has been attributed to a strain of the influenza A virus. Over the past 3 weeks, 13 lives, mainly those of small children, have been lost to the disease.
Since the viral fever began spreading rapidly across the southern province, many have questioned whether this could spread to other parts of the country, causing a national epidemic. 1,068 patients had contracted this viral fever in the Galle district alone between the 21st and 30th of May. 744 cases were reported from the Mathura district, while about 500 cases have been reported from the Hambantota district.
Since last month, we have received about 159 samples from small children, especially from the Karapitiya Hospital to the Medical Research Institute. We have identified it as influenza, a virus. We cannot say that it is a new virus. It appears that it is the same influenza virus that has afflicted the population over the past several years. According to the statistics we have at hand, we can see that this epidemic situation has peaked in the southern province and is now declining. Every year we experience the spread of influenza to a greater or a lesser degree. Our specialists have informed us that using this vaccine at every instance is not scientific. We hope to appoint a committee in the future to scientifically prove whether this vaccine should be used in such an occasion, how it should be used and who should be vaccinated. The other factor is that the vaccine that is being used now will be unusable in a few years. This is an airborne virus. When a carrier sneezes or coughs or even speaks within a meter of another person, then there is a possibility that the other person too will contract the virus. The virus can also spread through touch. It is important to cultivate good habits in this instance, including washing your hands regularly with soap. When discharging phlegm, ensure it is done in private and in a proper manner. If you are using a single handkerchief throughout the day, the possibility of the virus spreading is higher.
An event to commemorate World Environment Day, which falls tomorrow, was held under the patronage of President Maithripala Sirisena in Galle today.
World Environment Day has been marked this year under the theme Beat Plastic Pollution. President Maithripala Sirisena planted a sapling to symbolize the opening of the national ceremony of World Environmental Day.
With today's climate change, you see people in Beijing, China, walking around with face masks attached to bags of oxygen. Around 2 months ago, 100 people died within a week in the Indian city of Delhi due to the high amounts of air pollution in that city. In our country, you are very much aware of the decisions we took to control the use of plastics and polythene. New Gazette notifications were issued on polythene as well. When a ban on polythene and plastic is imposed, anyone in the world with a brain and common sense will be happy about it. But Sri Lanka was the only country with people who got onto the streets to protest against a ban on polythene. A large group tried to prevent the Gazette notification banning polythene. The proposal even came through to Cabinet. But I did not hesitate to go ahead with it. I stood firm and said I will not cancel it and ordered the Gazette notification to be implemented.
The water supply and maintenance of water supply infrastructure in many parts of the country has been hampered as a result of the trade union action launched by workers of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board over salary arrears. The public has been made to face several hardships due to the 8-day Work to Rule campaign launched by workers of the National Water Supply and Drainage Board. Today, the union sought to explain their position.
We launched the trade union action on the 28th of May. They are not listening to us at all. The last salary increment we received was in 2015 and another increment was due in January 2018. This was delayed. Accordingly, we launched trade union actions in February 2018. Following this, we were given a written assurance that basic salaries would be increased by 15%, but this has not been implemented. If the public are inconvenienced by this, then the rulers should take responsibility for it.
Since I took charge of this ministry, recently salaries were increased by 20%. They demanded 25%. I asked that they be given at least 23%. As soon as the government came into power, they were given a 30% increment. It has been increased by 50% over 3 years, and now they are asking for another threefold increase. That is why they are striking. Meanwhile, reports of ruptured pipelines not being repaired have emerged from many parts of the country.
Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy, has said Sri Lanka will end 2018 with gross official reserves of $9.5 billion, while further cutting its exposure to short-term swaps by another $700 to $800 million.
An article published in the Daily Mirror today quotes the central bank governor at an event last week as saying Sri Lanka's forex reserves stood at $8.7 billion and are expected to improve by a further $2 billion over the next few weeks. Inflows from the recently finalized 8-year $1 billion syndicated loan from the China Development Bank, the recently approved $246.7 million fifth tranche of the extended fund facility from the IMF, and the pending lease rental of $585 million for the Hambantota port would account for this $2 billion. The governor of the central bank has pointed out that the country's forex reserves have been gradually improving both in volume and in quality. According to Dr. Kumaraswamy, Sri Lanka's forex reserves stood at approximately $6 billion at the end of 2016 and were improved to $7 billion by the end of last year.
Nearly a month after Sri Lanka approved an automatic pricing formula for fuel, the International Monetary Fund is now calling on the government to implement a similar pricing formula for electricity and for a restructuring plan for debt-ridden Sri Lankan airlines.
The International Monetary Fund, with whom Sri Lanka has an ongoing extended fund facility arrangement, called the recent approval of an automatic fuel pricing formula a major achievement towards reducing fiscal risks from state-owned enterprises. The IMF says implementing an automatic pricing formula for electricity and a restructuring plan for Sri Lankan airlines, as well as further strengthening state-owned enterprise governance and transparency, is essential, adding the impact of the reforms on the vulnerable can be mitigated by ongoing efforts to strengthen social safety nets.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has appointed a committee to evaluate the long-term generation expansion plan put forward by the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka.
The Daily FT reports following talks between different stakeholders, both at the Presidential Secretariat and the Prime Minister's office, to end the tug-of-war between the Public Utilities Commission and the Ceylon Electricity Board regarding the 20-year long-term generation plan submitted by the latter in 2017, the Prime Minister has appointed a 6-member team headed by National Policies and Economic Affairs Ministry Secretary KDS Ruwanchandra. The mandate of the committee is to evaluate and make fresh recommendations on the generation plan submitted last year. The plan was rejected by the regulator last year, and an alternative plan, sans coal, also submitted by the CEB, was approved by the PUCSL following public consultations. According to the paper, the committee appointed by the Prime Minister includes Power and Renewable Energy Secretary Dr. BMS Batagoda, Petroleum Resources Development Secretary Upali Marasinghe, Deputy Secretary of the Treasury A.R. Deshapriya, Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, University of Peradeniya, Professor Kitsiri Liyanage, and the Additional Secretary at the Prime Minister's Office, Saman P. Waduge. According to the paper, the team has been tasked with providing recommendations within a month. The Public Utilities Commission, an independent commission tasked with regulating public utilities, had requested the CEB to amend the generation expansion plan, taking into consideration environmental and cost concerns with regard to coal power plants. There have been numerous substantiated reports of the environmental damage caused by thermal power plants, including the Norortsole coal power plant. The Coalition Against Coal says the Norortsole plant does not have a valid scheduled waste management license as required by law for a facility that generates hazardous matter. The movement notes that the Environmental Protection License, or EPL, issued to the power plant had expired on the 30th of June 2017. The power plant is now operating without a valid EPL. It adds that 74 shallow wells and 8 deep wells have been constructed in the facility premises without necessary approval from the Water Resources Board.
The new General Secretary and National Organizer of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party assumed duties in their positions today.
According to the temporary appointment of office bearers in the SLFP, Professor Rohana Lakshman Piyadasa was appointed as the General Secretary of the party. Minister Duminda Dissanayake assumed duties as the party's national organizer at the SLFP headquarters. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party is a party with a national goal, with a national vision, which speaks of a product-based and domestic economy. Everyone in the party may have different ideas, but they should be discussed. We have to build a strong SLFP by coming into policy-based agreements. The Central Committee of the party will convene on Thursday, and within the next 45 days, the other reforms will be made. The former presidents and prime ministers are in the advisory board. Mahinda Rajapaksa has also been appointed to the advisory board. You will have to ask him whether or not he will accept the position. But we hope he does, because all doors are open on our side.
And that's a wrap of primetime news for tonight. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Dasni Atada.
And I'm Shane Silva. Take care and good night.